So I'll fast forward through the Joe Dispenza elements. So those are the two main things I learned. Thank you, Joe Dispenza. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you and your team and everybody that has helped kind of put science behind things and explain things in such a clear and easy to understand way. And those were two real main lessons that I learned. And then I stumbled upon this book by someone that I'm sure most everybody knows, Deepak Chopra. He wrote a book on abundance. And I'm like, what? Perfect. Let me check it out. And so again, another book that and by the way, Joe Dispenza's book is like, mini phone book is like 300 some odd pages. And I'm like, I was like, all right, one page at a time. Same thing with Deepak. Thank you so much, Deepak, for your super insightful book with many pages and many things. And so I went through and I started going through and I started reading about Dharma and Karma and all of these things. And for me, at least in my own kind of perspective in looking at it, a lot of it was validation. I was reading things that I was feeling and things that have changed in my life. And it was really a validation that this meditation of abundance that I've been listening to for months, like it's essentially becoming myself and who I am now. And everything that he had so well written in there to say, all right, if you're, in Dharma, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing, and I'm like, check. And it was really, it was like a lot of validation. And at least since I've picked up reading again, it's usually one of two things that happen. And one of it is validation. Like, wow, this is like, you could be reading something that someone else like super impactful and influential had done. And you resonate with that. And you're like, oh my God, I do that same thing. Or I see where you're coming from. You know what I mean? And then the other thing is like, we learn something new when we apply it. One of the things that was really insightful from Deepak's abundance book was to focus on like light and the heart, and realizing that there's because a lot of what in the beginning, I was trying to figure it out and trying to figure out like, okay, if I'm focusing on nothing, that's really hard to focus on, right? Because that's what they tell you to do. And listen, I mean, I get it. Like, all right, the opposite of everything is nothing, right? So focus on nothing, but how do you actually do that? And how do you do it practically? And of course, everybody's going to have their own journey. But for me, I was like, all right, well, I'm sitting here quietly. Is it like, smoke cloud? Is it like blackness? Is it like, I don't know what it is, but I'm trying, it kept changing. And then he helped me get that kind of vision of like, almost like a sun, or like brightness in the heart. And then having that, and then focusing that to go up to your, up to your brain, and then, back and forth. And it was really calming. And it started to be something that I did while I was driving, not with my eyes closed, but with my eyes open and full. And I was like, then all of a sudden, 45-minute drives became no problem because I was doing something productive along the way, and it was helping me. And it was like, and then I'd show up. And I was like, even now, plane rides. Oh my God, I got a 2-hour plane ride. That's great. That's 2 hours of time I can be quiet with myself and focus on, centering and meditating, and coming off the plane ride with the abundance of energy of like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing. But then in doing that, and the reason I share that example is I started saying, well, what if I took like little things from here, little things from there that resonate with me, and then build my own kind of version of this? Right. And so kind of finding a way of realizing and understanding who I am and what it is that works for me based on my own life experiences, based on my own energy, based on my own disposition of things, and kind of pull those things and then build on those. Right. And so that was incredibly helpful. And again, it was almost like the pieces just kept falling into place.